Hey everyone, I'm Elliot.
I am Phineas.
And we are the Peters Bros. Welcome to our... You go first.
Welcome to this spoiler review for The Incredibles 2.
Full disclosure, there are spoilers in this video. So, if you would like to go into The Incredibles 2 with a blank mind, please just go watch the movie right now. We actually made a spoiler-free review just for you. So go click the link down in the description box below.
We should go in with a clear mind, not a blank mind. We got brainwashed.
Brainwashing? Disney Pixar's The Incredibles 2 just finished its opening weekend, and it already is breaking records. It's the highest grossing opening weekend of any animated film.
Overall, we really enjoyed this film, and I think it has a very strong idea of what it is and what it's trying to do. But I'd like to jump into spoiler territory here and get into some of the critical, nitty-gritty aspects of this film.
Edna mode.
I think that, for the most part, this movie does a really great job of being its own thing. You know, it's separate from the first film in that it has its own story to tell. Although I think that in some cases it kind of backpedals a little bit on some story structure and character arc elements. In order to redo them.
They recycled a couple things.
In some ways, these recycled character arcs actually read more as, you know, the characters in this family, you know, still struggling with the same exact problems that they had in the first film, but, you know, trying to handle them differently. I think in particular, Bob's character arc in this movie is remarkably similar to his at least his motivation in the first film. You know, he wants to get back to the good old days of fighting crime, and
now the good old days mean something different.
And in the first film, his struggle comes from you know, living out this secret life and not telling Helen about it, and kind of, you know, seeking adventure. In the second film, he kind of, you know, he's still struggling with that same exact issue, but he's working on it, you know? And I thought that was actually, like, really, really great writing on everyone's part, because all of the characters, like Violet, has her social assuredness that she gained at the end of the first film, then she's still trying to figure out exactly what that means and who she is. And I think that it was very, very natural continuations of everyone's character arcs.
Yeah.
While still, like, kind of rehashing some of the issues that actually kind of, like, cemented who these characters were better.
And people, as actual humans, do go over the same struggles over and over again, and that's just realistic, you know. Like, some of the best TV shows have to write tiny little character arcs for each episode and for each season, and just continue these. And the way a lot of great storytellers do it is, you know, by having a realistic, because everyone always is developing. Something worth noting is that this film sort of takes a step back from the intense emotional storylines that Pixar is so good at making. Everyone knows about the first 15 minutes of Up.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when...
Really, I think the only thing that needed to happen in order for the emotional payoff to really come through, all the elements were there. I think that maybe there could have been a darkest night, you know, a point of no return. I feel like, looking back at this movie, there's no point in particular where, you know, all is lost. I can see where it maybe could have happened when Dash and Violet are in the Incredibile after everyone, including Frozone, has been turned by the screenslaver. That's really where the darkest night should have been. That's where all hope was lost, you know? But that didn't seem as dire as it could have.
Disney was presented with a huge challenge. They have to blend the superhero genre, which has been perfected by certain studios, with films like Black Panther or The Dark Knight, which, like, those are almost flawless films. Obviously, there are flaws because nothing's perfect. But they're blending that specific formula with their other Pixar family stuff. Huge thing in superhero films is like the values of the hero.
And here's where our biggest criticism with this movie really comes into play. Because when it all boils down to it, a good superhero film is about a battle of ideologies between the protagonist and the antagonist. I just feel like the Screenslaver, as the antagonist of this film, had a really great message, had a really great backstory, had really great motivation, had really great fleshed out character. I don't think that it was as effective as Syndrome was in the first Incredibles film.
He seemed more tailored to these heroes.
More intimidating, yeah. He seemed more tailored to pick apart their weaknesses, of course, because, you know, he was created alongside them for the purposes of that film.
Syndrome was braided into the foundation of
the story structure,
and of Mr. Incredible. Their backstories were all tied together far back when he was a kid. They couldn't have done like a flashback. Oh, by the way, when Helen was a kid,
cheap way of inserting
there's this other
Sandman into Spider-Man 3. And that's what really made it feel like a sequel to me.
Yeah.
Was I could see, oh yeah, here's the sequel villain, you know? Last couple things we want to talk about, we should talk about the action sequences and Jack Jack. It's no secret that each of the Incredibles skill sets are based around, you know, their stereotypical roles in the family. And Jack Jack, as the baby, represents unlimited potential because
Jack of all
he's
trades.
a baby. But because of that, that means that his skill set is literally anything and everything.
It didn't seem like there was any limit.
Crazy, and I loved it. The sheer amount of creativity that came with, you know, coming up with all of these crazy, weird things that Jack Jack can do really showed. And I just think there was a lot of imagination and creativity across the board, particularly that's shown in the action sequences. Things like the fact that Elastigirl's motorcycle can split into two pieces so that she can like stretch and shoot herself off of surfaces is just like, how would you think that up? There are certain parts of the film that just stick out in my memory, like the fight with the Screenslaver in the hypnotist room where all the walls and the ceiling and the floor are lighting up. Of course. Like the rim lights and it was amazing in that scene. They were backlit and they were lit from the front, and it was just like dynamic and colorful and amazing to look at.
How did they film that?
And that train chase towards the beginning of the film.
It was kind of weird that they stopped like what, 3 big dangerous vehicles. So they spent the entire time like trying to stop this big vehicle, and then the train moves backwards.
Each of the giant action set pieces were based around.
Yeah, there was one in
the
each
big
act.
3 one. Yeah.
In each act, there was a runaway vehicle, and then the boat at the end. So it was like,
oh, that's weird.
It was, yeah.
I think that in the end, the question of whether or not this movie is a good movie boils down to my favorite scene in it, which is the scene between Bob and Helen at the motel when they're just sitting by the pool. It's very early on in the film, but they're able to knock out exposition and character and emotion and stakes in one short scene, and it all feels incredibly natural because the writing is excellent and the animation is incredibly believable and the voice performances are phenomenal. It just that tied the movie together for me very early on and showed me that I was going to enjoy this. I knew right then and there that they were making something that I was going to enjoy.
If you agree with any of our thoughts that we made here, please give this video a thumbs up, leave a like, leave a comment down below with your thoughts and feelings on this film. If you disagreed with us, please tell us why. If you didn't like this movie, I'd love to hear a good, strong argument as to why this movie was bad.
I can't see how you would not like this movie, though. Share this video with your friends and family, and don't forget to tell your enemies that we are awesome.